Welcome to the show, Wave On. Thanks for tuning in. And we got a brand new episode here and literally ending the 8th season. I just want to reflect on the last month of August here and the highs and the lows and some of the things that we had to deal with here in the paddle community. But first of all, since the last episode, I'd like to put a shout of accomplishment out there as far as attempting to paddle Lake Superior, which was our sunrise paddle, glassy lake, the pictured rock wall. Well, we call it the mini pictured rocks. It's a very close similarity to pictured rocks, just not as big. And behind us in the sun lighting up that rock wall, and just a very serene, quiet, peaceful, floating out there with my coffee and my float sup cup, which is a new accessory from this year. And I have to say that it's been very valuable as far as the coffee, a can, or just my plain water bottle just being held upright and the bungee holding it down to the paddleboard, which is really awesome. So just a quick little plug. You can find those on our website, lunamoonsupyoga.com. And I do ship as well. So there's other items on there that you can browse around and look, maybe coming into the holiday season here. Yes, time is running by way too fast. And we paddled from Lake Superior then to our next destination trip, which was Port Austin, Turnip Rock. We tried it. Hey, you know what? The weather was great for both weekends, and just always have to deal with wind. If it's not rain, then it's wind. And so we attempted the rock. I tried to prep everybody for it all, and needless to say that we did not make it. It was just too windy, and I felt like not everybody's at the same paddle strength, and challenges are going to rise, and it's a long trip. But anyway, we attempted it. We know what to expect even now for next time. So I would keep that one on the calendar as far as a trip that we would do. And it's very hard to plan all of these things while you're just sitting here on your phone or computer using apps, other people telling you where to go or giving you tips, which, you know, there's pros and cons to it all. So I just want to put a shout out there to, you know, when the Luna Moon Starlets give me little tips, or I should say pro tips, and share launch spots or photos or someone else's story or whatnot. So that's great. And we still got on Lake Huron. Now, I wish when I was planning these things back in the wintertime that I would have planned for a Lake Michigan paddle, and we could have said we did all three, at least three of the Great Lakes in one season, which is a huge accomplishment with the amount of time that we actually do have here in Michigan to paddle. It's a short season. It comes and goes fast. There's other things happening as well. It seems like we're always just jam-packed with running from one event to another all summer. And how do you manage all of that? So I think it's just becoming a better planner, but weather is always going to be a thing. But anyway, we did get out. We did that. We camped. We had fun. We bonded. We also checked out Caseville, which was the Cheeseburger Fest happening the same weekend. So that just added a little more to our highlights of that trip. And like I said, the month of August just went by so fast between the Big Bay retreat at Lake Michigan to then the Turnip Rock one, Lake Huron side, the thumb side of the state. And the next thing that we had to deal with accidentally or suddenly, I should say, was Luna, our namesake of the brand for the past 8 years. We celebrated our 8th season this August But we did that without her this time. And it was between the two trips that suddenly was more or less like congestive heart failure for a dog, um, a tumor as well. So when we actually just came back from the first retreat, we dealt with that. Suddenly we thought was heat stroke, actually was a heart thing. You could say she had a heart attack first, which led you to think it was heat stroke, then to the next episode, which led us back to the vet with a sudden loss, finding out that it was her heart and fluid around it and a tumor, and was not heat stroke. But all the symptoms, from what I researched and read about, was very similar to what she was experiencing. It was almost like the first episode then turned into a rally for the next 5 days or so, because she progressively started to get better, which was great signs in her recovery, which, like I said, thought it was heat stroke. So I read up all about recovery for dogs and heat stroke and what they might be experiencing. They can also become clingy, which Luna definitely was clingy toward us. The few days after that, she seemed to be feeling a little bit better, but was still a little finicky with her food. So there were still some of these signs of something that had happened to her that was traumatic. And I'm glad we spent our time with her that we did. And it just led back to the vet, the second vet appointment, which we didn't come home with her. So definitely not easy. So many cards and messages were received, and we read every one of them. I've saved the cards, which then led to a planning of an impromptu paddle out. If you're not familiar, it's more or less a surfer kind of thing, and they paddle out like at sunset as a send-off. So to honor her legacy, we did such an event, which was very well received, well attended, and very memorable. All the photos and videos I even received for that after the fact, we'll keep them. We'll also carry on her name and the brand. But all the messages and cards to thank you for the support. All the thoughts, hugs. Again, the messages were an outpouring and made for a crazy August, which that happens on a Monday, and I'm still planning the rest of the week and where I'm going to be and what private lessons I was going to teach that week. So I get on the water immediately the next day. Of course, I get an ask story about Luna, which isn't really surprising. Many people would be on the water and want to ask about Luna. How did this all come about? And oh my gosh, who's Luna? And how is she? What is she like? And then, which probably led to even meeting Luna if you were new to me. So yeah, that's exactly what happened the next day. So I, again, have to tell the story like immediately. But yeah, I just had to put one foot in front of the other. And it's been only a few weeks now. And I still look for her. I still think she's going to be there when I come up from downstairs or when I open up the door. I think about her at 5 o'clock. That was her feeding time, 5 on the 5 every day, like clockwork. But we'll carry on just like I had to that day after the fact. And of course, we have the Witches Paddle coming up. And so in the past years, we've had a charity tied to it, which has always been one for kids. This time we're doing Huskies. I was a Siberian Husky. We had her as a purebred. She wasn't a rescue necessarily, but I've always followed Harry Houdini's Siberian Husky rescue. So that's who is going to be the fundraiser this year. And I'm excited for that because I always followed along with their newsletter. They always highlight the dogs really well, even care and tips. This past one was some recipes, which I would have tried making for Luna. And anyway, that's what we're going to do. And it's going to be this month, the 19th, September 19th at 6 o'clock. It's a Friday night. We're doing something a little different this year. We're going to cast spells in a different way, meaning our charity that we are attached to. We're going to have some fun that night and have some special guests as well, some fun games, maybe a giveaway as well, which you can donate toward that would go then to Harry Houdini's Huskies. And I've already even sent them a note about it and told them about Luna and who she was and basically the why and all of that. So if you're not familiar, I'll give the brief story here. How Luna came home as a puppy, about 12 weeks old. And I was already a paddleboarder. I had boards, a variety of them, and I would practice my balance board even in the house. She's really little, so it started with the balance board. And I have some space between my feet and she would get on and just sit down on it. And it was the funniest thing. And that's how it kind of began. Luna Moon wasn't a thing because, like I said, we just celebrated 8 seasons and Luna was 10, she was 10. So at 12 weeks old, she would get on the balance board, sit down, kind of look up at me and just hang out. Her little tail would just be hanging off the side. And I remember one time doing it, and now later she was a little older, getting a little bigger, but still she was able to sit down on the balance board right in the middle and just hang out for a few seconds, and which then led to being on a paddleboard, and it would start out to the grass, then to the beach, just over the water. And Huskies aren't really water dogs. I mean, they're not the biggest water dog anyways. So I guess that led for her to she wanted to stay on the paddleboard. I have a couple stories of her jumping off and trying to swim away. Like, I am not doing this today. And anyway, which also led to her having a life jacket. We have many of those life jackets. But anyway, she loved it. She wanted to be on the board. And I was kind of starting out getting my yoga teaching career going and just getting experience and getting people to want to be in the class. And so this brand of Luna Moon started to develop as far as like her doing this down dog and having like a paddleboard being incorporated in it. And we started sketching these logos out and what the brand would be like and why and what's the tagline and what's the goal out of this. And I wrote many times about what the goal behind Luna Moon being this on the water community, a supportive community, and that like anybody could do this. If a husky can want to get on a paddleboard and do this but not want to swim, which just became kind of the funny, ironic story behind it all. That led to the bigger goal and bigger focus about people, getting people out on boards and letting them experience and connect with nature. And that's exactly what Luna Moon is and the goal. And again, carrying out her name in the brand. So with that said, ending on the 8th season here and doing the Witch Paddle, which is the 5th one for us to be hosting. And then carrying our goals out. So if you have goals that started out in the season, because we have such a short one here in the state of Michigan, then where else do you want to take this? Like, I have goals. I have goals of spread out over the years that are on the water that's going to challenge me and what I want to do. And I might share that in the next episode, but I do want to go on a lighter note right now and share about this, talking about paddleboard accessories and with the float cup. But I wanted to share the wind story from last year. And the newest accessory that was carrying on last year was the Boost Fin, which is an electric fin that attaches to any paddleboard or surfboard. And I had it on, showing it off. It was like a Friday afternoon paddle, which was super sunny. Some ladies that got out of work early. that could join. So it was a small group of us, and we got into a pocket of wind on one side of the lake where it was like we were just having so much fun, and we just like drifted over there, and we're hanging out like side by side. And I was like, okay, everybody, let's hook together. I don't even remember if I had enough like hooks to go to the D-rings or the bungees, but we might have even held on a little on the paddle side, reaching our paddles out, extending toward one another and holding on. And I'm like, I'm going to turn the boost on, and we're going to let this carry us over. I could see where water was like kind of a little more on the flat side, less movement. Let's get back over there. We've gotten into like a pocket of wind over here in the lake, and they all agreed. So turn on the boost, and we're all together like in a line going down the lake shore, getting over to this other pocket of lake that was much calmer looking. Got over there, detached, had a laugh, and paddled back afterwards. But it's cool to have those memories. And again, back to my paddle log, that I like to journal some of these things. And that was just a fun impromptu. We didn't know that was going to happen. And I was just kind of showing them the Boost Fen because it was brand new type of accessory, and it's a fun memory. So I still use the Boost Fen, of course, but obviously the purpose of wind is also a great way to utilize that. And I definitely had a very busy summer, a very fulfilling one. Every one of them is different, just like every time getting on the paddleboard is different out on the water. You never know what you're going to experience, see, run into, maybe, someone you haven't seen in a while to talk to on the lake here. And anyway, keeping the curiosity alive, which is another Luna trait. And she's definitely a very curious dog. You could almost say even nosy, because we would be on a walk and, oh, what's going on over there? Or she would always recognize activity on the lake. It could be a jet skier. It could be just something. And she'd be like, looking over there at. I'm like, you don't know those people. But she didn't care. And she was just, watching, just being curious. And it was super cute. Walks were always a lot of fun with her. And especially if I was on the lake leading a group, bringing them along the shoreline. And Luna, if she was out on her walk and she would notice us, she definitely knew me. So she would want to come over and check it out and see what was going on and kind of be part of the action, actually. I got asked so many times, can we meet Luna? Can she come by and say hi? Then I'd have to put in a special request for Jeremy to bring Luna down. And I'm like, the girls want to say hi to Luna. They just want to meet her. And that happened quite a bit. Not always. It was always, it sometimes could be a struggle if it was really hot out, and not her time to really be socializing in the bright sunshine. But you usually can make it happen, and it wasn't always a bad thing. But another time that with her as a puppy, and before starting Luna Moon, like when I had a lot more time to really just play, I think I had her on the hardboard. So these weren't even inflatables. They were my hardboards that I first originated paddling with. And one board I particularly called her board. It was her board. It was, she could dig her nails into it and I wouldn't matter. That wouldn't matter, which actually that never even really happened. It was just more of a beater board that I was okay with her tromping on. But anyway, we were on the water at sunset, and she was probably a year, just over a year old now. So she's a little bit bigger, still very puppy-like, and kind of prancing around side by side. The board's moving back and forth, side to side, and getting kind of unstable. Like I had the GoPro up front, and so it captures all of this in video and picture that we almost dumped it. And you could see like at her face and definitely mine where I'm like, oh, wow, like we just saved it. Oh my gosh. Like, a lot of times I would have to take her for a run after dinner and just before sunset, just to get some energy out of her before taking her on the paddleboard. And that is a key tip if you have more of a high energy kind of dog, is to do more of a bigger activity and just being conscious not to completely wear them out, give them a little bit of time in between two activities. But you got a younger dog, she's a pup, they're definitely excited and ready to go and energetic. So we that was usually our routine. And we get on the paddleboard, and she's still kind of like pouncing around, but eventually, calms down. And I think with the water, it does that a lot. Like you show up anxious, tight from the day, the drive, all the chaos. And then you get to the water, you're like, wow, this is so peaceful. And you're just on the paddleboard and just like floating, and just like calms you down, brings down the stress level, the high blood pressure, whatever's going on. I could say that was definitely the same for her as well. But we definitely had a few moments where it was like, all right, this isn't happening today. And the next one was, I think it was during her first summer. So she wasn't even a year old. She was more like 4 months old. And I have a friend come over and we're paddling, and she did not want to. I don't know, it was just not her night. She didn't want to do it. She got off. She started swimming away. She was heading toward this dock. My friend is like trying to help. We're also trying not to panic. And, I eventually get her. I get her before, but I was kind of in my head thinking, oh my gosh, if she finds her way to land and then runs away, what kind of paddleboarding experience was this? And what can we learn from here? That some days just is not going to happen, I guess. And that's okay. It's okay. It's all good. She still got on a paddleboard. She even went through a winter without being on one and still wanted to do it again in the spring, which was awesome to see. Anytime the boards were on the grass, she wanted to play on them. She wanted to be there. She wanted to help. I would include her. If I was deflating boards, then I would tell her, okay, tromp on them, walk on them to get the air out. Got to get the air out. It was like she knew what I was talking about. I don't know. I guess I included her a lot in my conversation. So whether she understood every word I was saying is up for debate, but definitely created a bond with her that was pretty strong, and makes it hard because it's something in your life that you show love to, care to, and the end makes it hard for anybody going through this. So anyway, I just have to recognize that, but it's definitely been an interesting few weeks to go from one extreme to another, and we'll see how it all goes. But I'm excited for planning more things in the winter time, as far as like destinational paddles and still building Luna Moon, because 8 years is 8 years, but it's only been 8 years. And I think that there's still some big jumps of growth over the next couple years. And that's the goals. That's what we're working toward. I'm working on newsletter stuff and putting some more intriguing inspiration inside them. So I'm always looking for questions in your own inspiration or whatever you have seen on the paddleboard scene or with lake life, water life. And another new thing. So I've been in gear sales for 2 different paddleboard brands, and the latest one that I started with last season is iRocker. So yes, I'm changing subject just a little bit, but this is part of the growth scene. And now I have affiliate links for iRocker. So I'm gonna post those. So that, what does that mean? And just to break that down quickly, it means that you could buy from my link and I get a little kickback. I get a little credit, not a lot, as own like buying through me personally, but the link is able to maybe some other accessories that I don't carry. Say like some of the fishing accessories, like the Blackfin has the capability of putting fishing gear on that paddleboard. If you bought through my affiliate link, I'd get a little bit of a kickback, and it would be a nice way to support me and Luna Moon and the growth of Luna Moon. So my website is going through some changes right now and some new rebranding, new pictures and stories and things like that. And I think that's going to be always just a continuing change. So that's a lot for me to say, because for a small business, it's like you don't have a ton of time to keep spinning on just a website. Like if I had a web person, they would just take care of it all the time, and I wouldn't have to highlight changes that are coming or already in place. And the affiliate link, like I said, is just more or less sharing and selling online. I have a lot of things in person, so if you ever want to demo a board or try some of the sample boards that I do have and carry in stock, you can always reach out. But if you have questions, even if you wanted it to be featured on the podcast, I would be more than happy to throw that out there. And like I said, the Floats Up Cup, I'll put a link out there for that one as well, because that's the newest thing. It's such an easy buy, especially for all the holiday upcoming things happening. I literally think you could use that little cup as your own little gift box and put little trinkets or stuff inside the little cup. So I think that's a fun little thing. And we also do gift cards as well. So gift cards are great for product or classes, retreats, however you feel like spending that extra money. And of course, with the holiday coming up, we're going to have some pop-up shops happening, but I really appreciate all of you following along, all of your support and efforts. The Starlets who always make things amazing, and the community cooler even. So many great ways that people show up and support. So I love that. And that, again, the goal behind Luna Moon, how and why, here and everything is working out. So let's just keep plugging away. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate if you could follow, if you could like, maybe share the show, all of those fun things to help even as a small business. Thanks for tuning in.